You've tried grinding, scripting, meditating, and bullying the universe with vision boards. Cute. But the cosmos doesn't answer clenched fists. It answers people who can sit still without imploding. I'm Carl Jung, and if your alignment still feels like anxiety in yoga pants, it's time to meet the part of you running the show from the basement. You keep asking, why isn't it working? After sleepless nights and broken plans and 12 different productivity systems that all look suspiciously like panic in a prettier font. The harsh, liberating truth is this: you've been trying to force alignment while broadcasting scarcity. The universe doesn't read your captions, it reads your energy. And your energy, my friend, has been mumbling, "I don't have it, I'm not enough, I'm scared." What you resist doesn't just persist, it gets a gym membership and grows in size. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. When your entire identity is built on chasing, fixing, and solving, your life becomes a reflection of the very emptiness you're sprinting from. So, here's the radical move. Stop. Not because you're quitting, but because you're finally upgrading from wrestling the river to learning how to float. The moment the doing stops, the becoming begins. When the noise dies down, the unconscious, yes, the actual engineer of your life, wakes up. When you stop interfering, the psyche starts to heal. The shadow stops knocking from the attic and walks down the stairs like it pays rent. Reality, relieved, begins to align on its own. We were sold a terrific lie. Success comes from chasing. Happiness is a trophy for relentless pursuit. Run faster, push harder, keep grinding, and eventually everything you want will collapse into your arms like a rom-com third act. I didn't teach you to chase dreams. I taught you to ask the rude question, why am I chasing this at all? Sometimes the thing you're sprinting toward isn't your desire. It's a band-aid for a deeper wound. When you crave love so badly it overwrites your dignity, is it truly about love or about escaping the ache of abandonment that still sleeps under your ribs? When you obsess over wealth, is it really about money or about proving your worth to people who once convinced you you had none? Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Translation: your wounds will quietly choose your goals, and you'll call it destiny because the packaging was pretty. This is why the hustle tastes like ash. If what you are is wounded, desperate, fragmented, every goal will slip through your fingers, not because the goal is wrong, but because the engine beneath your effort says, "I am not whole. I need this to be enough." Life mirrors that with irritating accuracy. You ask, "Please give me love," while your nervous system mutters, "I don't have it," and the world replies, "You're right." You burn out chasing careers that drain you, relationships that collapse, validations that evaporate. Not because you're cursed, but because the self behind the goal is bleeding on everything it touches. So, yes, stop. Stop grasping. Stop pushing. Stop proving. Not from fear, but from faith. Not from weakness, but from wisdom. Detachment is not apathy. It's sovereignty. It's the quiet confidence that says, "I've done what I can. Now I refuse to terrorize myself while the seeds take root." The unconscious doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your vibration. If your vibration still screams, "I need this to be whole," life will keep showing you all the ways you aren't.
Detachment isn't the absence of desire, it's the absence of dependency. It's the inner posture that whispers, even if this never comes, I am still enough. Ironically, that's when everything begins to flow, not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped strangling it. And then, because the psyche has a sense of humor, you meet the void. After all the gripping and bargaining and heroic last tries, you let go, and nothing happens. No sign, no confetti cannon sliding into your DMs, just silence. This is the moment that breaks most people. We've been trained to believe that surrender is a vending machine. Insert detachment, and an answer should come down the chute.
Received miracle. No, the universe doesn't move according to your stopwatch. It moves according to alignment. Before it gives you what you asked for, it checks who you became without it. The void isn't punishment, it's purification. On the outside, nothing changes. On the inside, scaffolding is coming down. Your soul isn't on pause, it's under construction. Your unconscious is rewiring, your nervous system is learning safety, your shadow is unhooking from the steering wheel. If you can stand the quiet without sprinting back to the old chase, the new pattern lands and stays. So ask the only question that matters before you beg the sky for more. What part of me still feels empty? That's where the work is. Not in refreshing your inbox like a slot machine, not in reciting mantras over a thunderstorm, but in sitting with the ache you've tried to outrun since you learned that love had terms and worth had teeth. Witness it. Not with judgment, not with shame. Look directly at the part of you that still believes a relationship will bandage your loneliness or a title will baptize your worth. Hold it without flinching. That's integration, not spiritual fireworks, but emotional literacy. You're not here to chase alignment, you're here to become it. Becoming happens in stillness, in the nervous system learning that peace isn't the prelude to disaster, in the shadow learning it can be seen without being exiled. Put down the telescope you've been using to hunt for cosmic signs and pick up the mirror. Read the handwriting on your own heart. If your inner monologue is a siren, you don't need a miracle, you need earplugs and a chair. Sit, breathe. Let the panic finish its sentence. Let the grief finish its song. When the hurricane inside finally runs out of weather, what remains is the you that doesn't have to audition for reality anymore. If your life has felt like a loop, it isn't a curse, it's choreography. You've been dancing to a track your unconscious cued years ago. The good news? You can change the DJ, but the price of admission is the death of the persona that only knows how to push. Let that version go, mourn it if you must, then watch what happens when your presence gets heavier than your plans. Doors stop squeaking, timing stops taunting, and the world, relieved to no longer be bullied by your deadlines, meets you where you actually are. So yes, stop manifesting like a hostage negotiator. Start metabolizing what's already in you. When you do, you won't need to demand alignment or hunt it across the sky. You'll become quiet enough to hear it breathing in your own chest. And when you finally hear that, the rest of your life hears you back. You keep telling yourself life is testing you, as if the universe woke up today and said, let's see how many flaming swords this one can juggle before they cry. No, life is not a stern teacher with a clipboard, it's a mirror with impeccable lighting. It doesn't respond to your wish list, it reflects your frequency, and your frequency is whatever your unconscious believes at 3 a.m. when the performance stops. You can write affirmations in gold Sharpie on your ceiling, chant mantras until your neighbors file a noise complaint, and still watch nothing move, because the part of you that actually drives the car is pressing both pedals. Consciously, you're like, I'm ready. Unconsciously, you're whispering, please delay the blessing. I wouldn't know what to do with it, and I'll probably drop it. The universe is not cruel, it's consistent. It echoes your baseline, not your captions. Look closely at the tells. That tightness in your chest when you visualize the outcome? Not intuition. That's your psyche raising a hand like a very honest student. I don't buy this yet.
the mental rehearsals that feel more like disaster prep than creation. That's not foresight, that's fear with a Pinterest board. You keep dumping positivity over chaos like glitter on a crime scene and calling it healing, but your nervous system has learned your true religion: control. Control the timeline, control their response, control the future with spreadsheets and sage. And because you confused anxiety for productivity, you try to force divine timing with human impatience and wonder why everything arrives late, dented,
Or not at all. Here's the unglamorous medicine. Stop throwing more effort at a contradiction. Presence is not the same as passive waiting, it's active honesty. Sit long enough to hear the sentence beneath the static. When doubt shows up, don't drown it in podcasts, interrogate it. When fear spikes, don't shove it into a spiritual junk drawer, translate it. Every hesitation is a footnote from the unconscious, and it's rarely saying quit, it's saying there's a part of you that still thinks love equals loss, success equals exile, money is menace. Are you going to argue with me, or are you going to update the file? Detachment gets a bad reputation because people use it like a costume. They announce, "I'm letting go," then audition for clairvoyant every 5 minutes by checking for signs. That is not surrender. That is surveillance. Real detachment is a posture, not a performance. It's the quiet, spine-straight sensation of, "I have acted in good faith. Now I refuse to terrorize my nervous system to prove I deserve the result." It is not the absence of desire, but the absence of dependency. The moment your word stops hitchhiking on outcomes, outcomes stop swerving to avoid you. Life trusts people who won't collapse when handed the thing they ask for. And then comes the void. The part they don't put on vision boards because it photographs like a blank wall. You finally let go and nothing happens. Your phone is a monastery. Your inbox is a desert. Your ego, dramatic as ever, declares, "See, surrender doesn't work." Breathe. The void is not punishment, it's a sterile field. On the surface, nothing. Under the hood, everything. Old neural shortcuts are being blocked off. New ones are being paved. The impulse to chase is losing its voltage. The reflex to catastrophize is getting bored. You are being recalibrated to receive what you kept fumbling. And recalibration feels like silence because the machinery is internal. If you can stay, if you can let the quiet unspool without sprinting back to noise, the shift you were trying to bribe out of the universe arrives without your commentary. Stop outsourcing authority to the sky, put down the telescope and pick up the mirror. You say you want a sign, but your body has been a billboard. When you think of the relationship and feel your stomach drop, that's not butterflies, that's a boundary you haven't learned yet. When you visualize the promotion and your throat locks, that's not humility, that's the leftover belief that being seen is dangerous. The unconscious hears everything you don't say and votes accordingly. Until you let these signals finish talking, all you'll manifest is louder ways to ignore them. But if I stop pushing, won't everything stall? Only the parts that were being dragged. What you build from panic requires panic to maintain. What you build from peace knows how to stay. Becoming the match for what you ask for is not metaphysics, it's nervous system logistics. Can you feel safe before the money? Seen before the partner? Worthy before the title? Can you stop asking reality to plug a leak you're actively drilling? Detachment is not laziness, it's mastery. The discipline to hold an open hand where a fist used to live. Let's talk about the ego because it likes to leave the room whenever I do. The ego wants control because control kept you alive once.
It catalogs outcomes, bargains with ghosts, rehearses worst-case scenarios at 2x speed, and calls it being prepared. It is loud and persuasive and frequently wrong. The soul is quiet, persistent, borderless. The ego asks for proof. The soul asks for presence. The ego chases how. The soul remembers who. The work is not to murder one for the other. It's to let the soul hold the mic while the ego learns a new job. You don't banish the bouncer, you retrain him. Guard the door, not the stage. You want to practice? Here. Every time panic rises, don't add more noise. Put your hand on your chest and ask, who's speaking? Ego or essence? If it's pressure, urgency, ultimatums, that's ego rehearsing an eviction notice for your peace. If it's ease, steadiness, an unclenched yes that makes no demands, that's essence. Choose the second, and you'll start recognizing a quiet pattern.
Reality becomes cooperative, not because it's impressed, but because you stop trying to bully it into alignment. Shadow work is not an accessory to manifestation. It is the engine. You cannot attract from the parts of you you disown. The universe listens to wholeness, not perfection. Every obsession points to a place you've outsourced agency. If someone loves me, I'll finally feel enough. That's not romance. That's hostage negotiation. If I make more money, I'll finally feel safe. That's not ambition. That's the nervous system begging for a blanket. Bring these motives into the sun. Hold them without superstition or shame. Once a shadow is witnessed, it stops driving from the back seat with a fake mustache on. Your choices get cleaner. Your yes means yes. Your no stops apologizing. Magnetism is just coherence wearing cologne. And please stop calling it bad luck when the thing you're chasing keeps outrunning you. Anything you pursue to avoid yourself will start avoiding you on principle. The universe is not punishing you, it's protecting you from getting what you cannot yet steward. Receiving from a fragmented self is expensive. You'll spend more keeping it than you did getting it. So the delay is not denial, it's mercy with terrible PR. You are not behind, you are not cursed. You are upgrading your identity from I become valuable when to I remain valuable even if. The moment that sentence stabilizes in your bones, doors open that weren't manifestable from panic, because panic has terrible posture and can't reach the handle. This is the boring, beautiful truth. You're not being tested, you're being mirrored. The mirror is precise. It cannot be bribed by your enthusiasm or tricked by your captions. It turns toward you when you turn toward yourself. So practice the rebellion of stillness. Let silence become familiar, not suspicious. Let desire be honest, not theatrical. Let the part of you that once sprinted for survival learn how to stroll. And watch, with clinical curiosity and a small satisfied smile, how reality starts answering a version of you who no longer begs for alignment because you are finally busy becoming it. Pain isn't your enemy, it's the translation tool that tells you where the wiring still sparks. When something meant for you arrives, it often shows up like a controlled demolition. The scaffolding you built from panic collapses so the real structure can stand. Detachment isn't giving up, it's waking up, retiring from micromanaging fate and letting your nervous system learn safety without proof. After surrender comes the void that influencers never post. No pings, no miracles, just silence while the unseen work happens. Don't sprint back to noise. You don't need more sky signs, you need literacy in your body's language. The stomach drop that's a boundary you haven't learned, the throat knot that's an old script about visibility. Shadow work isn't aesthetic, it's plumbing. Bring the motives into the daylight. If they love me, I'll finally be enough. If I earn more, I'll finally be safe. Witness them without shame. Once a shadow is seen, it stops steering in disguise. Coherence replaces theater. Alignment stops being a scavenger hunt and starts sounding like calm.
The ego will demand proof. The soul asks for presence. Don't exile the ego, retrain it. Guard the door, not the microphone. When panic rises, hand on chest. Who's speaking? Ego or essence? If it's urgency and ultimatums, step back. If it's an unforced yes, proceed. Practice enough miss before arrival. Feel safe before the money, seen before the partner, worthy before the title. What you build from panic requires panic to maintain. What you build from presence knows how to stay. You are not blocked, you're buffered until you stop treating life like a hostage exchange. Anything you chase to avoid yourself will avoid you back. You don't need more evidence, you need more embodiment. Ask, who am I when I'm not begging for it? Be that, quietly, stubbornly today, and watch the mirror change. If this moves something, comment, I let go, I align, I receive. Hit like to anchor the shift, subscribe if you're done with motivational fireworks and want surgical Jungian upgrades.
And share this with someone who keeps reading the sky instead of their own heart. You're not manifesting, you're remembering. Welcome back.